Welcome to Behind the Mirror podcast. I'm Lisa.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And on today's episode, we are going to be talking with Laura Courtie, who is an expert in all things bridal. If you've heard of her in Glasgow, she's notoriously pretty famous for her incredible bridal updos. So we're going to talk about all things crazy hair related, some bridal gossip, and then maybe just answering some myths in the industry surrounding the wedding trend where people seem to think that they're getting ripped off. Yep. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
A joy. So will we kick things off with something juicy?
Of course.
Okay. So obviously you've written 2 of your own books.
Yes.
And one of them, The Perfect Bride, you were saying contains stories of...
It does.
Mental things that have happened on weddings.
Yeah, so that particular story is based on a real event that happened in weddings. But I kind of wanted to make it that it was a fictional story, like kind of inspired by real events. So it is about a bride, and she has like a crazy, notorious affair with one of her wedding suppliers. So yeah, there's all the juicy content. Obviously, I wasn't there to witness the actual affair happening, so
I was going to say, so how did you obviously find out this after the wedding?
Yeah, so in the wedding industry, news travels like wildfire.
Oh, wow.
So something can happen within like 10 minutes and like the full wedding industry knows about it.
That's insane.
Yeah. So this particular story was kind of going around the wedding industry. So I don't know if like the groom ever found out.
I was going to say, so we don't really know.
So we don't know.
What
like
happened.
I don't know what happened after the affair all took place. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is the wedding supplier still supplying?
Well, actually, funnily enough, he's not, because he was pretty notorious for like
those
sort of
would want them to work with the bride.
I think this wedding supplier went round all the brides and all their mums at one point trying to get as much as he could. So yeah, unfortunately, he's no longer in the wedding industry, which is good news.
Wow.
To all
What was
the
he
grooms.
supplying other than
Like
affairs?
wedding photography. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So he was obviously behind the scenes a lot, and
He just totally took advantage of his position.
much. Yeah, pretty
What a
much.
job to be in, though, if that's your motive.
Yeah, and he was married. The photographer was also married.
Does she know?
So she didn't know that this was what he was doing all behind his her back either.
Did she find out?
I think she did eventually after like so
If that's-
many different affairs that had happened, because there was other things that happened as well. Like it wasn't just that he was doing, like he was totally terrorising every single supplier in the industry. So he kind of got kicked out, like unofficially kicked out, if you know what I mean. So that story went like everywhere and everybody knew about it, and I thought that's like a juicy story to write,
It's almost
isn't it?
like it is just like it couldn't be real. It's like a fictional story. Like to believe it, that's
It's like something that would happen to me.
Yeah, well, true. I know, true. Oh my god.
So I had so much fun writing it because I knew like the full story behind it, and then the book went out and I had wrote like
No
draft
wonder it's
one.
done well.
I know. And I thought, no, it needs to be more juicier, and then I had to like I think I did like 4 edits of the book before I was like, right, that's good for me.
So tell us what the book's called again.
So it's called The Perfect Bride, and also you can get it on like Amazon and stuff like that. So yes.
So that's so cool.
I know.
So obviously then, having worked at a million gazillion weddings, because that's your bag, that's your thing, have you got like a love story, like a really favourite amazing moment? Like have you ever cried?
So actually the one just happened quite recently, and I thought I've not cried for a long time at a wedding, because see, when you have like that as your job, I don't mean that you become numb to it, but like you kind of have heard a lot of the stories and everything else, and don't get me wrong, I love my job, I love working with brides and everything, but the stories do kind of become the same. But there was this one recently, and they were getting married in like a big I don't know if it's like a church or I don't know, the last time I called it a cathedral I got into trouble, but it was like it looks like a big cathedral, and the bride had she had like a young toddler son, and he was only maybe about 2 or 3, and he read out like a speech to the dad for her walking down the aisle, and it was like, Daddy, I'm coming to get you, I'm going to be, and I was like, I'm ready to go again.
That gave me goosebumps.
So and see, because it had echoed all around the full like inside the church, it was just like I'm actually getting goosebumps just remembering it. So that's been, it was so nice.
Have you guys seen the viral video just now about the wee boy that from Scotland, and he asks what is his stepdad to be his dad.
Oh, I have.
Oh my word.
It's so nice.
Like that was, for anyone listening that's not seen that, so this wee boy stands up and says, he's actually really funny. He's like talking about his mum, and you know, we all know she's hard work and thanks for taking her on and all that. And he's only maybe about, I don't know, 12. And then at the end he turns around and says, you know, could I become part of your family, please? Would you adopt me?
So nice.
I know, I was like,
so
oh,
lovely.
and the groom's crying, everyone's crying.
I think it's unexpected like that as well, and it's like raw emotion.
Yep.
I love a funny thing at a wedding. So my mum's wedding, their wee grandson, so Alfie was, I think he was 3 or 4. I know we'd been 3, and gets to top aisle and he's giving them over something, and he went, Gran, I'm hungry. And it's in the video.
That's children.
She was like, oh, you're hungry, darling, right, we'll get you something to eat. But I think it made the day like so funny, because it was like so natural. Like they're not scripted, you know, but then
and they don't really understand like what, you know, the enormity of the day as well, don't they not? So it's just like they just say it as they see it, don't they?
Tugging on my mum's bride dress.
Gran. I love it.
I know. It's cute. But then obviously things at weddings go wrong.
Yep.
Got any stories on those?
I don't really particularly have had anything happen specific to me on a wedding day, because I'm pretty like rigid when it comes to all my bookings. I make sure everything's like tip top before I turn up on the day. But like just the other day so I always have my phone on Do Not Disturb, but it goes on there at 9:30. It doesn't come off till 7 in the morning. And if I'm working before 7, I'll take it off myself. And this bride had came for a wedding trial, and we just had jokingly had said, you know, I was only doing hair for her, and we were having a conversation about a makeup artist, and we were like, oh, you know, if she doesn't turn up, like, don't worry, I'll bring my kit, just as a total joke. And this was only just at the weekend there, and then I gets the phone call at like 5 in the morning saying the makeup artist had cancelled her full entire wedding. And I thought to her, you know, you're so lucky, because I do all my stock on a Monday, but I've got a wedding tomorrow, so I had did all my stock on Thursday last week, and I had stocked up for like this full week. So had I not did that, I wouldn't have had any lashes in stock or nothing. And then for whatever reason, her phone call came through my Do Not Disturb. And
so if you phone twice,
in a quick succession,
if you phone once, Do Not Disturb, and then you can get through, so that she's phoned you and then phoned you again. I did phone. Oh my god.
Yeah. So the makeup artist obviously didn't turn up, so then I had to go to the wedding early, and you know, then I had a night out that night, so I hadn't planned on being up for that early, so I was up later the night before.
Well, that's it, because you're obviously allocating more time than what you would for hair.
Yeah.
Just as well though that you could do both.
Exactly. Yeah. So
oh my
gosh. So stressed, and I think she was up like near enough the full night crying, just because it was such a big part of
and
your
then
day.
you got puffy eyes. But I mean, and then obviously as well, when you've done the trial with somebody and you know that you like the look that they gave you, and then she doesn't know maybe what you're going to be able to do.
Exactly, she was only coming to me for hair, so we hadn't discussed anything to do with makeup, so I was going in totally blind that morning. And also with the upheaval of everything that happened, so they were obviously a bit upset and stuff like that.
And obviously, you know, like things happen, like, you know, out with your control, and you'd like to think that the girl cancelled, you know, for a genuine reason.
Yeah.
But I've heard that quite a lot recently, like people looking for makeup artists, like last minute because they've cancelled, and they just think it is probably for a bride one of the one of the most important things, because you think, well, if something happens with your flippers, then whatever, do you know?
That's it. I always say, like,
but the way that you look is so important.
Yeah, I say to brides all the time, and we're like, they don't invest enough into hair and makeup, but they're the two most important suppliers, because if your photographer doesn't turn up, you're still going to walk down that aisle and get married.
You can
but
still
if your
take
hair
pictures.
And makeup don't,
I know.
That bride's not going to, you know, like there's...
Well, the way you look, I think the way that you look impacts the way you feel. Well, it certainly does me. So, you know what it's like if you're having a bad hair day, or your makeup, or even your skin's not right, it does change how you feel. So it could actually affect your whole day.
Absolutely.
If you don't like your hair, or you don't like your makeup. If you don't like your flowers, then you'll be like, well, it is what it is. You know, you're only carrying them for a short space of time.
Yeah.
I got a call once to go and do an emergency wedding, because the woman had she actually had said, I'm so sorry, I'm too hungover, I can't drive, I'm being sick. And I'm like,
oh, why would you go out the night before? Like you were.
Yeah, but like that's someone else's biggest day of their life, and just because it's not your biggest day, that's so selfish.
Yeah,
like you've committed to that. It is. Yeah, it's unprofessional, but it's also very selfish. Like that to you is another day. That to them is the rest of their grandchildren are going to look at those pictures, and also how those people feel. Because now what you've done is, instead of this amazing day, you've caused stress right from the minute that the alarm went off.
Yeah,
and it's not a great thing to get rid of that energy, is it? Like, eventually you'll get there, but like, not ideal at all.
It's a very big responsibility taking the decision to be like solely working in weddings, because you know, like that, they don't get that day back, whereas you'll have another client, you'll have another bride, you'll make the money again, but they won't get that day back at all.
I think that's why, because I don't really do an awful lot of wedding hair. I only maybe do clients that I've done for a long time, and if they come to me specifically and they want me to do it, then I will, but in general, I don't really do it, because I feel like there is so much pressure and stress involved, because you do want it to be perfect, and I feel like I don't know if I'm the best person to do that for them. I feel like there's people like yourself that if you specialise in that, then I feel like, but you know, if they want me to do it, and I get it's a comfort thing for people as well, and
they know you.
And that is fine. That's absolutely fine. But I think that's for me one of the biggest things where I find it quite scary, because plus as well, stress can change people. You can be the loveliest person, but see in the morning of that wedding, if you're up to high dough, I mean, I know myself, and I'm a different person when I'm stressed.
Imagine it's like, right, Doris, chill out. You're a nightmare, that's it. So obviously, you, just talking on that then, like, because you actually offer classes, don't you, for one-to-one, and also like people that just want to upskill a wee bit, like that want to just learn how to perfect it. Doesn't need to just be for bridal, can be like nights out. I think the fear, a lot of the time it's the fear of the unknown. Somebody comes in for their trial and they show you the picture that you've never seen in your life before, and it's someone else's artistic work, and you've then got to, it's like, here's the Mona Lisa, paint it. Like, it's
the expectation of it to be the same. I think that's the thing, isn't it?
And you know, you don't know what that artist has done to get to the steps that they're at. So I always say, like,
you put your own
we can use that as our inspiration. But I'm not that person, so I'm not going to be able to know that she looped it 4 times underneath before pulling it apart or whatever, you know.
And I've always said as well, like, you could do the same hair up on Lisa and do it on me, but they look entirely different, because you've got different hair, different head shapes, different densities of hair, so it's different impossible. Thickness, you could like that, absolutely, you could never replicate it, even probably on the same person, because naturally you twist a bit slightly different, and I think it's just having the confidence to say that to people, obviously, because you've got the experience.
I think it's confidence really when it comes down to it, because like if somebody had came to me and showed me a picture, I would be quite happy to say, I can't do that. Like, I don't even know how that's been done. And then I could maybe show them other pictures and be like, this could be similar, but, you know, I know how to do this.
It's realistic as well.
Exactly. And when I do some of my teaching, that's the kind of things I teach them. I'm like, you have to be confident that you can create something. It might not be exactly the picture, but you know, it's similar to the picture.
Inspired by.
Yeah. And also the bride only ever sees the front of their hair. So see, as long as they're happy with the front. I'm not saying the back can be anything, but you know, as long as the front's perfect, then.
And in photos, that's what you see is the front, isn't it? So if anything, I know that's really where your focus should be, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I know.
Some of the girls I've trained have went on to be like win awards and all that for doing their wedding hair and stuff, and it's because the confidence gets built for the beginning for them to then own their craft, to go out and have the confidence to say like, I can't do that, or it's not realistic or anything.
And I think a client I would rather somebody said to me like, that's not either going to work on your hair or I'm not confident enough doing that. I would rather they were honest with me than tried to do something that I just thought, nah, that doesn't look right, or do you know, I think so there's a lot of respect goes, I think, if you're honest with people as well. And then it also shows how confident you are in yourself to be able to say that. You know, you're not insecure in what you can do. You're just being honest with them.
People pay a lot of money for wedding hair and stuff, do you know what I mean? They want it to be perfect. They might not want exactly the picture, and they might be happy with a variation, but like they want the value for the money that they've paid to get, like, you know, the perfect hair for their day.
Let's talk about the money then.
Let's
talk. Laura,
I knew you were going to go there.
How come I can come to you on a Thursday and I pay 40 quid and I can get the exact same thing that I would have had on my wedding day, but except it was £200 on my wedding day? Talk us, because obviously we went viral on TikTok, and I got some amount of roasting for saying, you know, like the express package that I offer is not really suitable for brides, and it was really misinterpreted, because it was like I wasn't telling them they can't have it, but I wasn't informed they were a bride. So it left me
Yep.
really minimal space to achieve a really unachievable look.
Exactly.
So it then put my reputation and things. So like, tell us, as an expert,
Yep.
why can you not have...
Well, the first and foremost, I always say to everybody, right, imagine you had booked a regular appointment at a salon and it was your wedding day appointment, but you withhold that information for every day just because you wanted like a wee £25 updo at your local salon, right? If somebody books their wedding with me or a trial, they're guaranteed the appointment, they're guaranteed the slot. If anybody's running late before them, they are told, listen, I'm sorry, I've got a trial in, this is that. And their wedding day, I will be there with my legs hanging off if need be. But if you're booking me for a hair up appointment and one of my kids is like playing up or doesn't feel well, or I'm having a day where I just, I'm not saying I can't be bothered, but everybody has days where they just, I need a day to myself. I wouldn't think twice about going, they'll find somebody else. But I would never do that to a bride. So you're really paying for that guarantee that appointment's secured. But also as well, I've been a hairdresser for 22 years and 20 of those years has been perfecting my wedding hair. I will sit in my free time and do tutorials on my doll's head. I will test products. I will all of this. And if you go and just have a regular hair appointment, they don't have that skill behind them. So you're just taking the chance and going, what if my hair falls out? I've had bridal parties where bridesmaids have paid for their own services. Some of them have chose not to pay my prices and went to a salon, and by the time they've got for the salon back to the hotel, their hair's out
and they want you
and they
to
expect me to fix it. And I'm like, well, you never paid me, so I'm not going to do that for free.
No, I know.
Where go back to the salon, get it going fixed there, but they've no time. So it's all that guarantee,
and then you're in a position because then you look like you're being really rude, but
it also looks like your hair.
Exactly, because people from the outside don't go, oh, she went somewhere else, but she did her hair and, like that. So I always say it's not always just about, the skill. It's about everything else is a guarantee for your day.
But then also things like the prep, because I know you said, the brides, so once you've done the trial and whatever, you might then give them products to use the night before when they're washing their hair, or you might advise them specifically, I want you to wash it a week before, if it's really dry, etc., etc. If they're just popping in and you've never met them and it's, 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning and it's just this, £30 updo, whatever, then you've done none of that. So all of a sudden you've got a much lesser time. And I think we need to be clear, because so many folk were like, I just get married in a registry office. See if that's what you want. No problem. But then don't set your expectation to have the bridal standard. I think that's where it's gone wrong. It's she did my hair and it was rubbish. Well,
the problem is as well as everyone's eyes are on a bride. So if you've just went and had the express hair done, right, and that's fine, and you're happy with that and it doesn't last, and I think that was the point you were trying to make. So what maybe will suit for a couple hours for a hair up for an evening, bridal hair needs to last. What time are you getting your hair done at? 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight that night at the very earliest, probably. Some even going later than that. You need to make sure that lasts all day. So the products even that you use, the set and everything that goes into it, there's no way an express hair up is going. It's not. It will probably last if you can do hair up properly. I'm not saying the curbies are going to fall out, but it will change through the day naturally. It'll get a bit of flatter, or whereas you're taking all of that into account. And this is the thing. So, but then you've got guests who are looking at her going, evening guests come. Who done her hair?
I know.
And it's she's not got a big sign on saying this was an express cheap option that I got my hair.
Exactly.
It's just who done her hair? Oh, I wouldn't go half my hair up or my
people
my
seem to think that by this, that me personally was going to be charging 15 times the price for the bridal than what I was for the express. The express is a 1 hour package, a hair and a makeup, and it was designed at the request of my clients who just wanted nights out. They just, they wanted to feel good, but they didn't necessarily need the intense. And if a bride is getting married in a registry office and they don't need it to be lasting all day, that's a perfect option. As long as they mention to me, I'm not going to charge them more. If they book the express and they say, I just want to let you know it's for my wedding, I would then ask more detail, send me over a picture of your hair now.
Well, you
send
can
me
prepare
over,
yourself then.
Send me over a picture of what you're looking for. And then it's up to me to be like, look, well, that's...
And you maybe would use a wee bit more setting spray, or a wee bit more you would use stronger holding hairspray. There's decisions that you make that's not necessarily going to cost them more, but it changes.
Well, it's like makeup, right? You wouldn't put SPF in a bride because when you take a photo of a bride, then it penetrates through and it makes them look really, really white, like this weird glow.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
So you wouldn't use a foundation with any SPF in it for bridal. You don't know that they're a bride.
Yes,
so you might. Estee Lauder is extremely high in white flashback.
Yeah.
So if you're a makeup artist that maybe has that in your kit, and then they don't tell you you're a bride, and then they go and get their makeup done, and you're using those products because, let's face it, it's a good foundation, right? And they get their photographs back, and they've got like this big white circle like right across their face because the camera flash is like, it's basically reacts
I've never
like
heard
natural
that before.
light.
Now use Estee Lauder.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so it's like so there's just different things.
See, it's
need
just
tweaked.
it's the knowledge
Yeah.
though that you're
Uh-huh.
paying for as well. It's not
Exactly,
just
yep.
the skill.
Yep.
It's all these things that
And
you
the
know.
accessories, you know, like
Yeah.
if I'm doing a 20-minute hair up appointment, right, because I'm pretty quick at doing hair up, so I can do a hair up in 20 minutes, but it's not going to be like the best ever work that I've done in 20 minutes. It's going to be like a quick updo for somebody, but then the brides are like, let me bring a veil, let me bring a tiara, let me bring hair extensions, oh, what about padding? And then I'll go, actually, you've now took up to my hour slot, which is where the price difference is, because my service, like my money's made on services, so every minute for me is like costly, and that's where I think
There's a reason that it's cheaper because it is only a 20-minute slot. So the
yep.
minute it goes over that, then naturally, then you could have done.
Exactly.
But
3
people
in that
weren't
time.
understanding that we are paid as like for an hour as well, because I was commenting to quite a lot of people back saying, would you go into your work and work a 5-hour shift for a tenner? And that's what you're effectively asking us to do in a kind of roundabout way, because you're saying, but that's all I wanted was the express package. But what you're asking for is not the express package. What you're asking me for visually is a very separate skill set. And so you've booked for this, you want this.
Yeah.
Now I'm put in a position where it's like, do I let them do it? Because so many folk were like, I'd have just given her what she said. All right, and on a bride's wedding day, you would be the one that said, sorry, I'm not doing that. And that's probably business-wise what should happen. Personally, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I did put myself
I mean,
out and I bent over
yeah.
backwards to create the closest to it that I could without running so late.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was my choice to make. I'm not the kind of person that
And
could
you
have turned a
have to-
bride away.
You have to wonder as well, do they book the express because it's like, to them, I don't want to be sitting for ages. Not that you need the time. Not that you need the time, but it's like for them, they just think, oh, it'll be quicker. So it's like you can magically still do the same thing, but just on like fast forward. Do you know what I mean? Do you know? You wonder though, is there like a bit of that they just still think she just works really, really fast on that day?
There's this on 4 espressos, steam coming out my fingers, you know what I mean, like that.
But you just
And then
wonder,
every
though.
other wedding, I just go slower than a wee snail.
I know.
Like, you get married today?
so I
Oh no,
can
we're not going to be
charge
done.
I know, honestly, that's working with the public though, isn't it?
But yeah, so it's good to clarify, because a lot of people seem to think that the common phrase was mention wedding and you get totally ripped off.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not really quite the case. I'm sure it's the same for things like flowers. Like, you know, I don't know anything about flowers, but, you know, they die. So
Like, flowers
probably
are so expensive.
Yeah,
Like,
they
I've
are.
got a florist friend, and honest to God, like the price of flowers is unreal. But even just for them to buy the flowers in, and as well, right, they have to be at the flower market at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning
right.
to get the flowers. See if they
Yeah.
don't get there at that time, there's a chance they're sold out. So that bride can't even get her flowers for a wedding
God.
day. So these are the kind of things. Like, I didn't know this either
But that's
until
again where the
the knowledge
florist
comes from.
pays,
Yep.
you're charged for your flowers because it's all this as well that goes into it.
I nearly died when I found out the price of flowers for weddings. I was like, you kidding me on? I got to ask and put a couple of bunches together.
Thing is, even more so now, because a lot of the time it's not just like your bouquet for the bride and the bridesmaid, and then you've got the buttonholes, but a lot of people want flowers for the
Yeah.
venues now as well,
Yeah.
because
The arch.
Yeah.
most people now don't tend to get married in a church or a religious setting, so it is in a hotel and they have them down aisles, and as you say, they've got the arches, and I know it's big.
It's
big business.
Big business. It totally
I think
is.
again though, you pay for a reputable florist to know that
Yeah.
they're going to be at that market at 2 in the
Exactly.
morning, and also that your flowers are not going to die midway down. I've
Exactly.
seen flowers be wilting.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone in to do the hair and makeup of a wedding and they're all in the bath?
Yeah.
And
Oh.
like so they keep the flowers in the
Really?
bath, because
Yeah.
it's cold and cool. So the flowers live in the bath, and you go in and you're like, oh, they're beautiful, and then 3 hours later you go in, you're like, oh,
I have
they're not
actually
looking well.
had florists deliver the flowers all brown and wilted,
No.
like the white roses, and they're all brown at the edges. And then I found out that once the flowers are like put, you have to you as a florist need to keep them alive. So there's things that the florist needs to do to actually make sure
goodness.
that those flowers don't wilt at
Well,
all.
I suppose once they're cut,
Yeah.
then
They've
essentially
got no water
Uh-huh.
coming to them. They've got no nothing. I mean, how many times have you seen them holding the bouquet and it's not the
look
happiest
sad.
looking?
So all of these things are all like that's why the
Specialist skill
prices,
sets.
I worked out what my base cost to do a wedding would be before I charged anything. And I've got young kids, right? So I've got my childcare bill, which is like 50 quid already.
All your
just
expenses,
to pay.
yep.
Then all my products I need to buy for the wedding. And if I'm doing makeup as well, you know, then I've got disposables that I need to buy for that day. And then I've got my travel to get there. And then all the money I'm losing for not being in my salon as well. And it works out, you know, you're almost a good couple of £100 down in expenses before you've made anything off. So I think it worked out that if I did 2 or 3 people's hair per wedding, that would only just cover my outgoings, and then anything over and above that would then be me starting to make money off it.
Because there's things like mascara needs binned every 3 months.
Yeah.
So again, people overlook these facts.
Yep.
Like you want a cheap makeup artist, if you want to call it that, well then you might risk having an eye infection on your wedding day.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
they
big
might
black
not have
eyes.
Yeah.
If it's cheap
they've
mascara.
not updated their kit. They've
Even
not
kitchen
thrown
roll,
things
like
out.
I have to buy so much to clean my kit in between every client when I'm out at a wedding, and it's wee things like that. Like kitchen roll used to be like £1 for 2, now you're like £5 for 2. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It's crazy, but it's all these wee things that all build up, and then you go, wow, I've just spent like 100 quid and all I've got is like a couple of disposable things for.
I know.
It definitely is a market that people overlook, because I had seen somebody said that, you know, they were going to charge me £80 for fuel and it was only 5 miles, and I commented back, say 20 miles or whatever it was, and I said, okay, so but you're not paying £80 for the physical fuel, you're paying because that makeup artist or stylist is now in their car for an hour to you, then an hour back, so it's 2 hours wage for them that they could have been doing something else, as well as the mileage you've ranked on their car, wear and tear and fuel. Like, people don't see the big picture, they just go, £70, it costs a fiver.
I could fill my car and get there on £15 or something. I know they take it as literal as fuel.
But that's what I mean. They don't work for free.
Exactly.
And driving to their venue is work, because it's time that you're not in the salon. It's time that you would have had someone else to be doing something for. Like, there's so many hidden costs to all of this, isn't there? And it does, but like Kirby's, see if you buy cheap Kirby's, has anybody ever experienced a cheap
Like
one?
I had
Worst
oh
ever.
my God, they're so bad. Like some of them don't even stay in
I
here.
know.
They just pop
They
back
come
right
back out.
Yeah,
They do.
Old, like
I know.
fully old.
It's like, hi, I know they do.
Yeah,
I know.
I think my box of Kirby's is £15 a box, and I've got to buy like 3 of them a week.
What's your favourite Kirby's? What ones do you use?
I use Orlando Crew Kirby's
they're the best
because
ones.
they're just the best.
They are.
I have tried salon services ones, but they're just not. They're just
Hair
not the
tools
same.
are okay, but the Crew Orlando ones, but
do love
they're
them,
expensive.
But then I've got to buy every colour, because I have like, you know, I could turn up to a wedding and I could have a blonde and a platinum white colour and a black and all of this, and then I've got to be able to make sure that all the Kirby's can't be seen in their hairs.
Is there redhead Kirby's yet?
Yeah, like kind of burgundy, dark burgundy ones, but Crew Orlando don't do them.
They don't.
But
no.
you get, I think it's hair tools that make it, and I mean, obviously, like I don't need as many Kirby's as you because I'm not doing a full wedding party, but just for hair ups and salon, we've got, I think it's hair tools that make it, and it's got like the different colours in it, and it's quite handy for the salon because it like that you can't only
even
have
that
one
amount of
Kirby's.
Kirby's is not enough for me. Like
Aye.
I go, like my boxes are 600 Kirby's per box, and you're lucky sometimes if I'm minimum 3 a week. I could have like 12
So there's another
weddings
cost
in a row.
though.
Yep, exactly.
And then it's, it's not like you can say to them, can I get my Kirby's back tomorrow?
Exactly.
Oh,
Well, do you know it's so funny because some
Once said
people
that-
actually say to me like, well, I just dropped my Kirby's back off, and I go,
God love
wait a
them.
minute here, imagine I
know.
turned up to your wedding and went, oh, Susan had them in last week. You would be like, oh my God, get me out my hair.
We should do a shout out to all the future husbands that deal with the wives of you, because it's like, by the way, listen, see when you think you're going home up the road for a happy wedding night, you're actually removing 700 Kirby grips out of
You're
her
like,
head.
oh, there's
I know.
another one.
Every
Oh,
time I
there's
lie
another
down,
one.
it's dragging me, it's
I know.
dragging me, there's
I
more.
think most people probably try and sleep in it, don't they?
Oh, I feel so sorry for husbands, right? Because I always think, like, when I do their hair and makeup in the morning and then I see their dresses and I'm like, that poor guy has got all of that to take off before he can
It's like
get
a maze.
to the ironing. Yep.
I actually saw a thing the other day that said that the wedding hair lasted longer than the marriage.
Oh my God.
And I thought, that's a brilliant slogan for Kirby grips or something, that like wedding hair that could last longer than your marriage. I mean, it's not quite happy ever after vibe, but it's,
No.
I like it. It's real time.
I've had one couple that didn't really see past the month.
Oh wow.
They were divorced within a month of their wedding.
Nothing to do with the hair.
That was nothing to do with the hair. Just all to do with them as a couple. But
You wondered if maybe they shouldn't have got married. Like there must have been issues
she
before.
did.
You don't go
It
from
was
being
two girls
happy
that was
to.
getting married, and both of them had come to me for like their cuts and also their wedding hair. But I wasn't their hairdresser before they booked me for their wedding. They decided that they would come to me and start getting their hair cut.
Yeah, like all the preparing before it. Yeah,
so yeah, because
there's colour and everything. All people start planning their colour ahead of time. And,
exactly. So many brides' colours I'll do before their wedding, but then I never see them again. And they're like, "Oh, we're just going back to our old hairdresser now because they live so far away from me, you know, and it's a novelty for their wedding."
Yeah.
But they came. One of them had came for their haircut after the honeymoon, and I hadn't seen them for the wedding, and I was like, "Oh my god, like how was the wedding?" And we're like, "Oh, don't talk about it. We're divorced." And I'm like, "Oh, okay then."
Oh my god.
Yeah. She's like, "I knew before the wedding, but I was told it was just nerves and everybody felt like that." She's like,
"So was it her that ended that?"
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of money when you spend all this money and you've sent out the invites. It probably feels a wee bit like you're trapped.
Their wedding was like 35k plus because it was a massive wedding.
I mean, I suppose it would be hard to, shut everything down. It's like saving face. I think there's a lot of people probably are like so deep in that hole and they just think, just get on with it. But then
also as well, people don't like to go back to their family and be like,
I know.
Change of plan.
Yeah.
Don't love it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's talk about deposits.
Yeah.
So because that's another thing in the wedding industry that can be a
like
bit controversial.
The most controversial subject in the world.
It is. I think obviously by law, you're not allowed to request huge amounts of deposit, and it has to be justifiable to cover the cost that you've incurred as a business, like admin.
Well, admin actually isn't really a reasonable cost. No. So basically, I worked with trading standards to make sure that my deposits were all in line with the reasonable deposit, because that is the word they use, is reasonable. And as long as it can be justified, then it comes under reasonable. So, for example, if my services cost £1,000 and I took like £500 and I cited admin for that, they'll go, "Well, why are you getting paid more for admin than your skilled job?" Like, nobody in the world gets paid like £100 an hour for admin. It's a minimum wage job, so then that becomes unreasonable. And that's the way trading standards had kind of put it across to me. So my deposits are £10 per person. So it's, if they're booking me for hair and makeup, it's less than 10% of the actual amount. But also it means I feel like I'm getting paid when I'm doing the job, rather than doing the job and going, "Oh, I got paid 3 years ago for this." 50%, you know what I mean?
And then you feel, as you say, then on the day, because how many people make a mistake of then not keeping that money?
Exactly.
I mean, I do try and make sure that we do, especially gift vouchers as well.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're working for nothing otherwise.
Yeah. So
what did trading standards say would be like reasonable? What is allowed?
So as long as you can justify the expenses. So for example, like my childcare gets booked a year in advance. And I've got to pay that up front to that like organisation. So that would be like a reasonable cost for me. But like lashes isn't a reasonable cost, because I can use them on another client and still make money. Like that £500 for admin is not reasonable, because there's no admin person getting paid £500 like an hour to do emails. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just independent to each business that trading standards said. So if food is getting bought in 6 months in advance, that would be reasonable. If they have to pay for licenses for venues, that would be reasonable. But for me to say like I had to buy my Kirby's and my hairspray and whatever else, that's not reasonable, because I could use them on other clients.
Or you could take them back.
Exactly.
I think things that are maybe personalised as well.
Like personalised 100%.
That could only be used on one person. Or
I think everybody... No, I don't think everybody, because I experience differently, but I think there should be an element of common sense, isn't there? Like in a business individual's perspective of like, do you know, there's been so much notice given, I've not bought anything that I can't use elsewhere, and so actually I might be able to transfer that to something. And I suppose each case comes down to the individuality of what's happened. If someone said to you, do you know, I've actually found someone I like better, well, that, you know, you've lost your deposit because you've changed your mind. I've already done all this work.
If they paid their full balance at that point, they would get their refund minus the deposit. But the deposit becomes non-refundable. On certain circumstances, I would maybe let them use it in the salon. But because my salon and my bridal business are two separate businesses, it's income that comes through two separate like entities, if you like. But it would just depend on the circumstance.
I was going to say, I think that's where every situation can be different as well, because there is maybe circumstances that would maybe change, you know. But I think, I think
it's morally as well. There's a little bit of, you know, if someone really, really important dies, in that bridal party. And, it's nobody's fault. Nothing has been done. There's a wee bit of a moral obligation on a business to be like, right, can I fill it? Okay, it's not 10 minutes, but, it's 6 months before. I'm probably going to be able to fill that with something. Yeah. Could I refund some of it? Could I help in some way? Because surely as businesses, we want to put our best selves forward and our reputation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And where possible, we want to be seen as somebody who was helpful, not horrible.
Yeah. Do you know what the problem is, though? People lie.
Yeah.
Because how many times did you get people cancelling during COVID, after COVID, and then all of a sudden any cancellation had COVID because they know that you're not allowed to come. And I feel like everyone had cancelled and they just used COVID.
I definitely think it's individual, innit? The death of somebody, or
everybody's get about 50 grand that have died though for things, don't they?
For weddings, it was probably different because they wanted their wedding. It was cancelled 3 and 4 times at that point, so they wanted their wedding.
Also, the other thing as well, so a lot of people hate this deposit, they hate paying a deposit, and I never understand it because it's not an additional charge, right? So I feel like I like paying. See, if I go and get anything, a massage or anything, and I have to pay a deposit, I quite like it because then when you go on the day, it feels like it's cheaper than what you've actually spent because you forget that, that money doesn't count really.
It's like hairdresser math. Free. It's free. My massage was free. I paid it a month ago.
It's already been paid. But also the other thing, I think it's for their security as well. So if say I was getting married and I had booked you and you didn't ask me for a deposit, you would be wary, is she definitely going to come? Because it's almost like a security thing that, I've paid her, and it is. I can't understand why you wouldn't want a deposit for them as well.
I've not really had any brides question the paying the deposit.
No. I think most people expect it now, don't they?
Yeah. I did have one bride who her husband-to-be was unfortunately in a really bad accident, and they didn't think that he was going to pull through, and her wedding had been booked it was cancelled and then booked, and then it was we still don't think it's going to be right, can we book again? And in those circumstances I'm not going to charge you anymore because you're already going through enough trauma, do you know what I mean? And I just moved her dates free, but that was 3 dates out my diary that essentially I could have had other brides book into, but
also you're a nice person. This is going to be a very individual situation. I mean, as if anybody ever wants to be in a position of cancelling their wedding because of something like that. And obviously I can speak from personal experience of cancelling my own. It was horrendous. A lot of the vendors I dealt with were just horrible. Again, as if you ever want to find yourself, it wasn't like I set out that day to be like that. Do you know it's going to be a good fun laugh? Let's try and cancel everything I'd booked. And maybe me with the ADHD, I'd booked everything. I had everything coming. So it's and certainly for me, it shone through the companies that were compassionate and kind, and at least would try to do something than the ones that didn't. And that bitter taste will stick forever. But I do believe that if you'd run your business like that, then that's on you.
And as well, bridesmaids as well, they are part of that wedding. They're privy to the conversations that the brides are having. And if you're a nice person, then they'll be oh, you remember so-and-so, she was lovely, why don't we see if she can do the wedding, And I get a lot of weddings through that kind of word of mouth. So I definitely think being a nice person definitely goes for you.
100%. I shouted so loud about my caterer because he was just the nicest ever out of everyone. He was just amazing. And I still would recommend him constantly because no questions asked. I got a response straight away saying, this is horrific. I'm so sorry. Let me sort this right now. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I didn't ask anybody for a full refund. I asked for nothing. I asked for the opportunity. Is there anything we can do? Is there anything? I have lost so much money. Is there anything? And a lot of the time it was either no response or a flat out no. So then you kind of think, what's that money for? It doesn't mean anything to you now. You're going to resell my day. It's 18 months away.
Well, that's the thing, I know, because remember at one point you were saying the chances are they probably will fill that again.
They all did. Every single one of them. So. Which is fine. They're karma. That's not how I would run my business. But then, we all do things differently, don't we?
And that's why I take such a small deposit because then it's got enough effect that they know that they're booked, but it's not got enough effect that there's a huge loss if anything had to happen,
Oh, I was thousands. Thousands and thousands.
I would be devastated.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah. So, and it leaves such a bitter taste in your mouth because you're like, I've still got my dress. It wasn't even made yet and I wasn't allowed to cancel it. So there's loads of things about it that my brain just couldn't, what? Yeah. Why can you not contact them and just say not to make it and I'll lose the deposit? No, I'd paid for alterations on the dress. The dress was never altered. So
It's almost as if they just want that money.
Just got the
and
money,
it's like, that's it. It's like a signed
It's like,
contract.
no, that's in my terms and conditions, and I'm not budging. Like for nothing. There is some companies that are like that. Yeah,
and I just think it gives you a bad reputation in the long run.
Yeah,
I will shout loud about who I wouldn't recommend and who I would.
Well, unfortunately, I work in that industry, so I can't shout yet.
Wait on the 3rd book to launch. See when Laura retires and it's like, right, here's the juicy gossip.
I actually have like an idea that I'm going to do for a book. It's going to be after the next one I'm writing. So I'm writing part 2, the first book that I wrote, and I'm going to do like Confessions of a Wedding Hairdresser, I'm going to make it into like a comedy kind of book. So I'm excited. I'm starting to put plots together for all of that. So
you'll have so much gossip though. That's the thing.
What was your famous TikTok story?
Oh, so honestly, this story went so viral. Every wedding I go to, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I watched your TikTok." Actually my mum had broke her leg, right? And I went up to the hospital to take her up, and they were all like, "Oh, yeah, your leg's broke. So what's this about this TikTok?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed."
Morphine, please.
So obviously I've got the salon as well, right? And so like I said to you earlier in the podcast, some of the clients will come to me for like cuts and colours before their wedding. And some of them I don't see again, and some of them have become really good clients of mine. So this girl had came and we were doing like a haircut, and she was kind of like talking to me about companies that, not wedding companies, but like construction companies. And, I just like very quickly got the impression that if someone was outside her budget, maybe she'd badmouth them, right? She wouldn't like to say, "I couldn't afford that." She would just like, "Oh, I can't, they did this, they did that."
Feeling, don't you?
You just know, right? So that was fine. Lovely. Off she went. She messages me again, "Can I come back for our haircut?" Cool, great. So while she was sitting, I had another bride sitting with a colour on, and the two of them got chatting, like, "Oh, you getting married or so, ma? Like, what you got booked, what this, that." So they had discussed like venues and whatever else, and then they were discussing photographers, and they were like, "What photographer have you got?" And it turned out both of them had a photographer booked that's a friend of mine. So the girl who was getting her hair cut at this point was like, "Yeah, I went and contacted this photographer, and they were saying all this stuff about this particular photographer." And I'm like in the back cupboard like this, pure, what they say?
Is this about the one you know?
Yeah, so they had booked this photographer. I know this photographer, but this was another photographer they were talking about. So they were like, "Yeah, he said this, and he said he'll be dictating my full wedding, and what he says goes, and this and that." And the next thing, right, something just came across me, and I'm like, I know who she's talking about, right?
Did you really?
So anyway, I'm like, oh, right, listening in, and kidding on, I'm like getting the product for her hair to dry and whatever else. So she's telling this bride this, and the bride's going, "Oh my God, like that's terrible. Like, oh, that photographer didn't do that. No, I know the ones we've got is really good. But this one, oh my God, he was telling me this and telling me that." And then he was like, "And do you know what? Like, I've even heard that this photographer's also got a daughter who works in weddings as well. And just at that, I went, "Oh, what did she say?" And she was like, "Oh, nothing." And I was like, "All right, okay." So she left, and I said to the other bride, "Oh my God, are you actually kidding me?" And she was like, "What is it?" And I was like, "That's my dad she was talking about. And I'm the daughter that she was about to start slating."
And she realised.
And she didn't even realise I was the daughter that she was about to start saying things about. So I was like, another bride was like, "No way, that's your dad." And I was like, "That was my dad, yep."
Oh my God.
So then I phoned my dad, and I was like, "You will never believe what's just happened."
I take it, did you not do her
I
wedding?
did her wedding. I cancelled her wedding because I thought, well,
No
if
way,
I hadn't
there's an
turned round
atmosphere.
at that point, what was she going to say about me?
I know.
And I just wish I'd never turned round so I could find
Somebody
out.
like that, it's like so toxic, isn't it? So one tiny thing, and she would have that blown up.
Yep.
You
So
made
the
the right
photographer
decision.
she'd booked was about half the price of what my dad was for photography.
money.
So that was how I already knew,
Yeah.
like, it was because my dad's work is phenomenal, right? And I was like, it's not the work quality, it's the price quality, because he's a lot more expensive, but he's been doing it for like 20
You
years.
would love to know if your dad's pricing was way like below the one that she'd booked. I bet you at that point,
it would have been the best thing ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that's...
You done the right thing cancelling though, because morally, it would have been so hard for you anyway.
What would I do?
But
like
I know.
turning up to a wedding knowing she's like saying things about me?
I know. I know.
It's horrible atmosphere. That is so wrong.
But the other bride was like, "Laura, I can't believe you kept your cool." And I said, I wanted to know what she was going to say about me.
Yeah, because you're almost a fly in the wall at that point. So She if she knew, she would probably stop the story before
Aye.
she continued.
I must have
I
made
love that
like,
she just turned it off like,
I know.
what?
I'm like, did I make a face? Like, did I do something with my face when she was
Do you
about
think
to say something about
she did
me?
click? Do you think she must have realised?
She must have, because she just stopped dead right in the middle of the conversation and went, do you know them?
Because even from
Did you
where they're
say?
from.
I was like, no, I don't know who you're talking about. But she must have had the vibe. She must have knew.
Yeah.
I think you played it well though, because if
Yeah.
you'd have turned around and gone, "That's my dad," I wouldn't even have wanted to finish her hair, because I'd have been like, "You've just absolutely
and it makes it
slagged
so
them off.
awkward."
It's horrible."
Yeah.
I
But you know how much people lie, like you were saying earlier,
Yeah.
and she could have went, you know, half a haircut and I could have lost my business because of it.
The review afterwards.
Exactly.
Even though like she would have been the one that offended you.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, we fear the reviews so much. Why is it such a thing? And like the thing is,
know.
people judge you on it, but actually, and especially when there's a negative one, you don't know what's happened when they've left the salon. Like, see, without taking two sides into a story.
The problem is we live in a culture where people leave bad reviews, they don't always leave good reviews.
Yeah.
That is changing. There is a wee bit of a shift now, I feel like. But most of the
I
time, how
definitely
many
think
times leave?
TikTok has got the biggest like part to play in negative like reviews. It is
Because it's like good TV.
Yeah.
It's like it gets people talking,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Like all our clips that we put on and they're nice, like they're okay. But it's the ones that
I
are
put up that I say are doing an express bridal
and
hair,
then
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the abuse. People love giving abuse online,
Exactly.
don't they?
A friend of mine. Kids, she was
a
going
big
to
sigh.
do she was going to do a service for a wedding for free, and then something came up and she couldn't do the service for free, so she looked for somebody else that would cover the contract and had sent the bride like, you know, here's this person, they'll do it for free. But the bride was like hell bent on, I'm taking you to social media because I want
They
the
totally
views.
use it. It's not fair.
And then it was, oh, get me into the creator fund, like get me 10,000 followers so I can make money off my content. And that bride must have made about 5 or 6 videos about that supplier
Because
just
she
for
benefited from.
for clout.
but they
basically.
say that sometimes like bad publicity is good.
Yeah.
Like, and actually, what she's done inadvertently is advertise the fact this woman was willing to give her stuff for free, then went out and found someone else that was able to do it.
Yeah.
And so actually, if you look beyond the horribleness, if anything, she's done her a favour in that she's spread out how great this person is.
What I quite like now that you see is people maybe, I mean, this isn't to do with weddings, but like anytime on like our like kind of local like page on Facebook, if anybody puts anything like slating a small business, like to do with like say the price of the coffee or something like that, and people always comment underneath, it's like almost like they get a wee bit defensive of people now, because I think everyone knows what it's like, and they'll say, well, did you not look at the menu before you ordered it and stuff? So I quite like that people are kind of changing, because they know a lot of people do. It's like, did you say to the manager or did you just take to Facebook? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's like the hair world when someone will post a photo of their hair and go like, I've had my hair messed up. And now we can all see it and be like, oh no, okay, yeah, it's maybe no ideal. But then you think, what did it start like though? What was your budget?
But then
were you in as a model?
But
like,
go
we
to
don't
the
have the whole story.
salon. I can understand if they don't get any further, right? If the salon is in the wrong and they're maybe not accepting responsibility and they're looking for opinions. But it's when they just go straight onto social media and you just think, oh, you're just doing it for likes.
I saw one on a forum this morning. It was a professional forum. Like, her client had box dyed her hair 2 nights before and then said, oh my God, I've done it wrong. Like, it was a blonde box dye, so it was, you know, it was canary yellow.
I know exactly what one you're talking about, and she said it's still yellow.
Yeah. And so like the girl was like asking for help. She had 2 hours in which to correct this mess for this women's holiday. So she's doing her a favour now and doing a full colour correction. And then the girl come back and said, well, it's still really yellow. I was like, well, it was
going to be, because you
but
made
it's
it
just
yellow.
it's less fluorescent highlighter than what it was. But yeah.
But then she was also going holiday as well, and everybody
good luck
knows
with
the
that.
sun brings out the warmth. And I know.
Let's
That's another topic.
let's talk about your products before we wrap this episode up. So tell us, so you've got your own range.
Yeah, I do. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't know what to just like.
I know.
Yeah, so this is my own range. So I designed these quite a good few years ago, but the packaging just got a revamp because I wanted it to feel very like bridally
I love
and
it.
girly. And
It's so soft.
yeah, and like high class sort of with the golds and stuff. So one of the biggest things with me doing hair for brides and not seeing them before their wedding day is sometimes they'll come and their hair is like so damaged. Like other hairdressers might not put the care and effort into like bleaching and stuff as well. So when they come to me, it's like I physically can't do anything to your hair because of the frizz or the breakage, or they're wanting like bits down the front but it's snapped away up to here because of the blonde. So I designed these products so that the brides could buy them. So these are our ritual kits for brides. They're not just for brides, they can buy them, they're for all hair types, but because the majority of my clients is brides and they don't know how to prep their hair properly, so that's why I designed these. So they've got like vitamin E in them for strengthening and helping to grow. They're also anti-dandruff, and they've got organic Moroccan argan oil in it, which is going to coat the hair and make it super strong and also really shiny, and it defrizzes and smooths and everything else. So it is really, really good. It took me ages to design them because they are made in the UK, vegan friendly, they're got the wee bunny rabbit and all that in the back, they're cruelty free, everything. So I really wanted my brides to be able to be covered for everybody, so that I'm not just niching in on one specific type of client. So this is just the shampoo and conditioner, but the kits come as a full kit. So you've got like the argan oil and the luxury mask and all that comes with it as well.
And is it all extension friendly?
They are all extension friendly because obviously I do a lot of extensions for my brides as well, so I needed something that was going to be super
Covers
great
everyone.
for everything. So that's why it took a long time to kind of get all the formulations right and everything else. And the best part about them is the scent. It's Parma Violet scent.
It's beautiful.
And you know what? It is 5-day plus scent, so you can still smell it in your hair for 5 days after, like you shampoo your hair and stuff.
Wow. And so you also brought us your fave.
We did. So this is my ultimate fave product. So I'm actually a educator for this brand as well. This is Cottrell. I'm the only Scottish stockist for this brand, and honestly I think they're amazing, right? I used to be an educator for another brand, and then that brand closed down in the UK, and then this brand approached me because I was an educator for them. They flew me down to London, they gave me like a full weekend of everything, all expenses paid, so I could try out all the products, and at the end of it I was like, do you know what, I actually really like them. So this is my finishing spray. So this is called the Gleaming Potion. It's for coloured hair, but you can use it in like non-coloured hair as well. But honestly, the shine and everything, even on blondes, it makes your hair like super glass hair like. It is fabulous, but it's so strong, so you only need like 2 wee sprays. But it's amazing. I think it's only like maybe maybe £15 or something for that wee bottle.
And they can buy it through you.
Yeah, they buy it through me.
You use that when you're fit once the
every
hair's
colour
all
client,
done.
everything, every bride, they all get a wee scoosh because it's just so nice, and it smells amazing as well.
It does actually. That was at the hairdresser sniff test, isn't it? Like everything, I smell it. I mean, it could be petrol, and you were like that. You stick your nose in before you even know the details.
See the amount of products I've tried and tested for brides and everything. It's unreal. And now that I've found my things, that's me.
Don't fix it if it's not broken,
exactly,
right? But thank you so much for joining us
fault
today.
at all.
We had a
It's so
really
nice.
I feel like we could do, book number 3's coming out, and I'm like that. Get back in. It's like the Confessions of the Glasgow Kiss thing, isn't it? Except for that it's wedding edition.
Yeah, the wedding edition.
So for anyone that's looking to purchase the books, one is called The Perfect Bride. What's your other one called?
It's called The Life She Stole. So this one is also inspired by a true story as well. There's a full 35-part TikTok series that's
35 parts.
Basically, So I have quite a few different series on TikTok. So my storytelling started on TikTok, and I was like, you know what? These people are obsessed. I was having like millions and millions of views on my series. So book 1, I kind of took one of the series and turned it into that story. It's very clean, the story, whereas the other one isn't. And I loved writing that book because all the characters are based on people I know, so it was great to write that. So part 2 of that will be out at some point this year, and then the next one after that's going to be Confessions of a Wedding Hairdresser.
Do you know what I love about Laura? I says to her, like, oh, sorry, I forgot to say, could you please bring in a couple of products or tools that you like? We do a wee review every day. Next thing she's like, right, I've wrote 2 books, I've got my own range. I was like, wow. It's like a whole show and tell. I love it, and it's all done by you. Like, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
At all. It was lovely to be here.
And if anyone has any questions, we will direct them your way.
Thank you.
But thank you for watching, listening, liking and subscribing. We will see you again next week.
Thank you.
Bye.